pounds on me, so I got that fire on me. In the desert heat, I'm burning marijuana, trying to fill bags with green and blue cheese. In the city, the only thing that matters is the money, and that's the only thing I want, honey. I live the life that's crummy, so I want my gold like a day sunny. Once upon a time.
Hey, this is Bird Rabbit, and this is the Mitra Blue episode series. For today, we are going to be doing the book read. Last episode we did Mr. Adolf Hitler, but we made it to the prologue, and we stopped at the second passage. But I like to keep these different, and we'll continue on that later on the episode. You know what I'm saying? I like to, and continue reading, mark where I left off, then we'll continue reading. Let's enjoy reading, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. Alright, but for today, we are going to be reading the beginning of Black Indian Slave Narratives. So, in the Americas, the Native Americans did have slaves. In North America, most of the tribes fought for the Confederacy to keep their slaves. And in some cases, slave runaways went to the tribes to live amongst them, and they had to do for themselves, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, they had black and white slaves as well. So let's break down the story and dive into it. All right. Let's start off with the acknowledgement preface. All right. This book began some 15 years ago while I was working on my dissertation on slavery in the Cherokee Nation. I went to the WPA slave narratives as a major resource for research. I was led down this path by two persons whose scholarship has profoundly influenced my own: Theda Perdue and Danielle Littlefield. In their pioneer efforts, they used the ex-slave narratives to explore and present the histories of the five nations of the American Southeast from totally different perspective. That of the African American members of these nations, Professor Perdue's work, Nations Remembered, an oral history of the Cherokees, Chickasaw, Choctaws, Creek, and Seminoles in Oklahoma. And the Seminoles, I believe they had a lot, the majority of black runaways. I believe even Seminole is a term for runaway, they're based down in Florida, you know what I'm saying? And during the Trail of Tears, you know what I'm saying, that expansion, and I believe the Buffalo Soldiers had to guide them throughout, you know what I'm saying, after the Civil War to clear the West and stuff like that. But they made their way to Mexico, the Seminoles and shit like that. Even like on the border of I guess there's a excuse my language. There's a community in Mexico right near the border and stuff that they're pretty black, but they celebrate like Black Indian Seminoles, and they been celebrating Juneteenth for the longest. You know what I'm saying? So it's there. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue reading. Let's read where we're here. An oral history of Cherokees, Chickasaws, Choctaws, Creeks, and Seminoles in Oklahoma, 1865-1907, which was extensively utilized. The Indian Pioneer Papers was influential in the way that it opened up the other collections of WPA first-person narratives as a historical resource. So I decided to start looking at the ex-slaves narratives for stories about the Indian territories from the perspective of those doubly displaced persons of African American descent within what had become known as the five civilized tribes. And they were called civilized tribes. So let's read that passage over. So I decided to start looking at the ex-slave narratives for stories about the Indian territories from the perspectives of those doubly displaced persons of African American descent within what had become known as the five civilized tribes. Critical to this effort at Betty Bolden, Senior Library Associate for Readers Service of Burke Library at Union Theological Seminary in New York City, who worked through the interlibrary loan to bring countless rolls of microfilm of these narratives to me. Her diligence and patience played an important role in me and my being able to bring these narratives to you. I was also to thank Herbert, the microfilm reader on the first floor of Burke Library, with whom I developed an intimate and enduring relationship. In all seriousness, the administration and staff at the library were always supportive of this often and dissect this. Man, these motherfuckers be trying to use some big ass words. Alright. Idiosyncratic quest. In addition, numerous librarians and archivists at Newberry Library, the New York Public Library, Butler Library, the Oklahoma Historical Society, McFerrin Library, the John Van Library, Gilcrease Institute, and Western History Collection all provided support and guidance. A lot of people have shown an interest in these narratives, which helped push me into seeking their publication in this form. Among the first were Taya Miles and Celia Naylor Ojoronbi, two colleagues whose dissertation were similar to mine, and whose consideration of value of narratives prompted me to further research and development. A couple of other colleagues, Eleanor Wyatt and Angela Y. Walton Regge, have worked on similar projects over the years. Their support and friendship have proven invaluable. However, my most important contribution have been the folks at John F. Blair Publisher, their vision in recognizing the importance of this project, and their patience with helping me bring it to fruition have been immeasurable. I would like to offer a special word of appreciation to Curlin Sakowski, who was my mentor in this process, whose assistance in editing narratives was substantial. Thanks also go to Ed Southern and Kimberly, Stephen Kirk, Sue Clark, Debbie Hampton. Something such as this is difficult to pull together except by collective effort. So we're gonna stop right there, because he's just giving out thanks to a lot of these people, and my battery's about to die. So the next video, we're gonna continue this book and let this charge. Oh yeah, cause it gets crazy, my nigga. All right. Let's skip all that thanks and stuff, cause it gets deep. All right, so we'll read the passage until this dies. All right. D nigga Stiller stole me and my mammy out the Choctaw Nation up in the Indian Territory. I was about 3 years old. Brother next sis Hannah and my mammy and her two stepchildren was down there river washing. The nigga Stiller drive up to the big carriage, and mammy just thought nothing, cause the ford was near Derry, and people going and the road stopped to water the horses and raise a while in the shade. By and by, a man crosses the biggest children to the carriage and give them some kind of candy. Other chillin' sees this and goes too. Two other men was walking round smoking and getting closer to Mammy all the time. When he can, the man in the carriage there, two big step chillin', and with him, and me and my sis clumbing to see how come. Then the manhandler get the old one and let's get from her. With that, they two big men grabbed Mammy and she fought and screeched and bit and cried. But they hit her on the head with something and drug her in and threw her on floor. The big chillins began to fight for Mammy, but one of them men hit him hard off they drive when her and the horses under whip. Spence Johnson. And we'll leave off from there because that's a passage from most likely a black Indian that got captured. So they were playing games back in those days, playing capture games. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, it was like, man, survival of the fucking fittest, man. Because it starts out, these niggas still done stole me, Mammy, and Mammy out. My bad, this is how it was written. The niggas still done stole me and my Mammy out in the Choctaw Nation, up in the Indian Territory, when I was about 3 years old. And we'll leave off from there. But it gets deeper, and I want to continue this, but I don't want my camera to die while I'm reading and stuff like that in a good passage. So we skipped the forward because he was thanking all the people that contributed and stuff like that, and we're gonna get straight into it. You know what I'm saying? Straight into the passages, the notes of every slave captured, recount, and I believe the people that had the most slaves. I said in the beginning of this video that the Seminoles had like the most runaways and stuff like that, but I believe it's recorded that the Cherokee Nation had the most slaves, like the most black slaves, whites, like they had the most. Like, but anywho, this is Mitra Blue, the episode series, and I'm Bird Rabbit. And we're going to continue this book read later on. And I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? I know it's kind of a little bit not smooth and stuff like that, a little bit rushed, but we'll get into it next time. So I hope y'all enjoy, and yeah.